Hi everyone, welcome back to the Caistrology channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin, and today we're going to be looking at your October 2025 horoscope. You can watch your horoscope for your ascendant, sun, and moon sign. I do recommend that you watch all three if you've got the time, and this is a tropical Western astrology reading, just by the way. If you're wanting more regular astrological updates from me, then you can follow me on Instagram and or Facebook. It's the same handle, which is simply Caistrology. So a little bit of an update for you. I am going to be traveling for the whole month of October. So that means I'm not going to be available for private one-to-one astrological consultations. And just by the way, I'm a tarot reader as well. So I do offer tarot card readings. I'll be back in November if you're wanting to book in a private reading. So without further ado, let's get into your October horoscope. Hi Sagittarius Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your October 2025 horoscope. On the 7th of October, Mercury is going to enter the sign of Scorpio. With Mercury in your 12th house joining Mars, there's definitely this deep focus on getting to the truth of a matter, okay? Because the 12th house is very much associated with deep research. So you could be isolating yourself in order to perform studies, experiments, or produce some kind of creative work. Moving along though, on the same day, we are going to have a full moon in Aries at 14 degrees, and this is going to be taking place in your 5th house. This particular full moon will be conjunct the fixed star Alpheratz, which is associated with the planetary nature of Jupiter and Venus. So it's considered to be quite benefic, and it is very much associated with things like victory, glory, freedom, liberation, and even romance and creativity. So having this full moon in your 5th house could indicate that you are successfully completing some kind of creative project, or you could experience a breakthrough with something that's like a hobby for you or a passion. On a different note, the 5th house represents owning your own business. So some of you may be launching a new business or launching a new service or product, or you could even just finally have let's say the blueprint for the idea that you want to pursue. Okay, so it's like you're able to take it to the next level. The 5th house is associated with love, romance, as well as children. So having a full moon in your 5th house could indicate for some of you that there's a positive breakthrough in terms of your dating life or your romantic relationship. Others of you may be experiencing healing or some kind of reconciliation with one of your children, or maybe you're finding out that you're pregnant around this time. Moving along though, on the 13th or the 14th of October, depending where you live in the world, Venus is going to enter Libra. So Venus will be transiting your 11th house until early November. And in the first 24 to 48 hours of this transit beginning, Venus is actually going to oppose Neptune in Aries in your 5th house, and it's going to form a grand trine with Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. So this is actually activating your social houses in astrology, because we've got Pluto in Aquarius in your 3rd house, Venus in Libra in your 11th house, and of course we've got Uranus in Gemini in your 7th house. So the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th, these are all social houses, business houses, and they're very much associated with networking, connections, as well as communications. So you could be having some kind of divine inspiration, and it's 333 right now, just as I said that, when it comes to a business idea or a writing project or a communications piece. So this could be to do with content creation, writing a documentary, an online social media platform, or starting a new website, or this could be indicative of a significant new collaboration or even like a a social connection taking place. So maybe this is you wanting to go into business with another person, or having discussions with someone about an idea for a collaboration. And it doesn't need to just be business related. This could also be going into business with a friend, with a family member, or maybe even your significant other. But because this grand air trine is taking place in those really early degrees, this is more about that initial conversation or idea and less about like the end result or the end project. So on the 14th of October, moments before Venus trines Pluto, Pluto will actually station direct in Aquarius in your third house. So to me, this is further evidence of you basically knowing what direction you want to move forward with as it relates to some kind of communications piece, writing piece, content creation, or maybe even like a short form education course, or perhaps this is to do with getting a diploma, an apprenticeship, or some kind of important licensing, or maybe even like a patent for an idea. So on the 20th of October, Mercury is going to form a conjunction with Mars in Scorpio at 19 degrees. So this will be occurring in your 12th house. And this is quite exciting, not because it's the 12th house, but more because we're going to see from this point onwards a grand water trine taking place. So that means that we've got planets in all three of the water signs or water element, and they're all forming a trine with one another. Okay, so we've got Jupiter in Cancer, and that is going to be in your 8th house. And then we've got Saturn in Pisces in your 4th house. And as I said, Mercury and Mars in your 12th house. So basically, this can indicate that you are overcoming some kind of difficult situation, or I dare say even an impasse that you've been at. And this can relate to your family relationships, your property and living situation, maybe being at a bit of a standstill in terms of your living situation or resources, and not being able to move forward with things like what you want to do around the home, or maybe even starting a family, or even supporting your family due to not having adequate resources, whether that is financial, emotional, or some other kind of tangible resource. And so some of you may be experiencing great charity with this activation to your 12th house, or you could be overcoming some kind of debt, or perhaps you are receiving an inheritance, or you could have access to someone else's resources, or access to inheritance money, or even property much earlier than was anticipated, or perhaps this is coming completely out of the blue. On the 21st of October, there will be a new moon in Libra, and this will be occurring in your 11th house. So the 11th house is associated with awards, rewards, public recognition, as well as your long-term goals and dreams for the future. And of course, it is very much associated to things like innovation, plus science, AI, robotics, and anything to do with tech and AI. So new moons are all about a new chapter taking place, or a new beginning taking place. And so you can actually be really intentional about what you're wanting to let's say manifest, buzzword, but also a little bit overused and trite. So whatever you're wanting to call into your life, essentially. And the 11th house is associated with passive and residual forms of income. 28 degrees is the Cancer degree, which is associated with things like property, real estate, family, as well as the automotive industry, funnily enough. So ultimately, this new moon in your 11th house could indicate that you are basically planting seeds or intentions, or setting intentions, let's say, for your future property and living situation, whether you're wanting to buy, sell, relocate to a far and far away place, or just like your dream location, or maybe this is to make renovations around your house with your existing property that you live on. Maybe this is about the family that you want to create in the future, or the family relationships or dynamics that you want to have with your existing family. This could be looking at putting the wheels in motion for retirement, and maybe even supporting your family in terms of finances and resources. And of course, this could indicate that you're having some kind of idea for a new business, maybe a Kickstarter program. Maybe this is you putting the word out to get investors on board in some way, shape, or form. You could be joining a new community, or forming a new community, or just getting really involved with AI, social media, and again, some kind of business idea. The next day, on the 22nd of October, Neptune is going to re-enter the sign of Pisces. So Neptune's going to be transiting your 4th house for 3 months at 29 degrees. So I've said it before and I'll say it again, 29 degrees is the critical degree in astrology. It is the anaretic degree. And so there can be some kind of quote unquote crisis that occurs as it relates to your family situation, property, living situation, and whatnot. But I actually see this as a really poignant moment, unprecedented in our lifetimes, where there's going to be a lot of help available to you. Why do I say that? It's because basically, this is adding to that grand water sign trine. And even the next day, Scorpio season is going to commence. So we'll have 6 planets in the sign of, or in the water element, in the water signs. And so because the 4th house relates to your property, your living situation, your ancestry, your lineage, and it also rules over your childhood, this could indicate that you are healing some kind of deep, let's say, discord with another family member. Maybe you're going to be experiencing forgiveness or rebuilding a relationship. Even if you're not having that person in your life, maybe they've already passed on, or maybe you're just like, no, I don't want you around. A different way that this could play out is that you're overcoming whatever transpired between you and that person or that family member. So you could feel like you're basically breaking the mold in terms of your ancestral line, your lineage. Some people call it generational trauma. Other people don't like that term. So let's avoid it and say that if there are patterns that have been repeating within your family that you've observed, like with your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, aunties, uncles, great aunts, and whatever, then there could be some kind of breaking free or liberation from that. And because Neptune has been transiting the sign of Pisces for 14 years, except for this brief stint where we've had it in Aries since late March, basically we're closing out a 14-year-long chapter on a personal level, but then also this represents the end of a 165-year cycle, just because that's how long it takes for Neptune to go through all 12 zodiac signs. So it's a monumental slam book shut moment, if you will. And on the 29th of October, so lastly, we're going to have Mercury entering Sagittarius in your 1st house, and we're basically in the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period as of about the 20th or the 21st of October. So in November, Mercury will station retrograde at 6 degrees Sagittarius, and by the end of November, it'll be direct at 20 degrees Scorpio. So this is going to be notable for you. So just take note of whatever is occurring in basically the last 10 days of the month of October, because you will be going over that again in November, whether that is projects, important conversations, proposals, negotiations, important decisions to be made, and so on and so forth. So thank you, Sagittarius, for watching your October 2025 horoscope. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, I am on Instagram and Facebook if you're wanting to see more regular content from me / other, whimsical, funny, astro reels and memes and whatever. I like to let my Gemini rising out there. So enjoy your month ahead, Sagittarius, and I will see you guys next month for Sagittarius season.